Now, the Arab Spring uprisings were arguably the most significant events of the last 12 months, and protests are still raging across the region, even after some regimes were toppled. Let's now cross live to our correspondent, Irina Galushko, who is at the location of one of them, there in Cairo. Irina, Egypt saw President Mubarak forced out in February. It was the second Arab nation hit by revolt. Take us back, if you would, to the very beginning and what you saw while you were there covering the events.
Well, as you have mentioned, it all started at the end of last year. It started in Tunisia, and let's look at the three countries which now have, you can say, successfully toppled what they called authoritarian regimes, and those are Tunisia, Libya, and Egypt. Let's look at what's happening in those countries right now. In Tunisia, you of course have the leading Islamist party Ennahda coming to power. People are saying that they are rather happy with the fact that they have gotten rid of Ben Ali, but at the same time, inflation has gotten worse, unemployment has gotten worse. People are saying that they have not gotten anything that they have asked for except for freedom of speech. Now, of course, freedom of speech was one of the main reasons why these revolutions happened, but other than that, really, other than expressing their opinions, people have really not been able to get anything else. You look at Libya, also a country which demanded freedom from the oppressive regime of Muammar Gaddafi. They have gotten rid of that regime. We all remember pictures following the October 20th killing of the colonel. Of course, people, in fact, were lining up by entire families to have their pictures taken with his body at the shopping center. Well, several months after that, what do we have? We really do not have any sort of improvement in the spheres of economy or social spheres as well. It's also becoming an increasingly Islamist state. And of course, back in Egypt, we are still in the middle of the parliamentary electoral runoffs. In fact, the third leg of the very complicated electoral procedure is going to take place here on the 3rd of January. Again, the two parties which are storming ahead in these elections are also Islamist parties. You have the Freedom and Justice Party, which is a party from the Muslim Brotherhood, and then you have the Salafi Muslim Party, which promises that the future of Egypt lies in its Islamic past, and they do say that Sharia law will be the official state law of this country. So several months, in fact a year after the Arab Spring has blossomed all over the northern African and Middle East continent, really there have been no improvements in any sphere other than you have still thousands of people coming out to protest in Cairo, also in Tunisia, still demanding the improvements that they have asked for. And that is the only thing that has really changed. That now you have people coming out in hordes, essentially, asking where are those things which they have asked for. And again, people in power in Egypt right now, for example, are SCAF, the Supreme Council of Armed Forces, who really have not really made any improvements towards making lives easier. In fact, several non-governmental organization offices have been raided here just several days ago with a lot of their cell phones of people who work, their cell phones, computers, documents being confiscated. The officials in Egypt have not given any explanation for why they did that. And when eyebrows were raised in the United States offices which were sponsoring these non-governmental organizations, the Egyptian authorities have provided no explanation, but they did say that they will pay close attention to any foreign statements coming from any foreign leader who are going to make a comment about the internal affairs in Egypt. So this is the situation that you have in Northern Africa: protests and no improvements whatsoever.
All right, Irina, as you say, three revolutions are bringing some form of change to the Arab world, but as you've mentioned a couple of times now, no improvements, no major constructive efforts there towards peace and stability. Let's address one of the other countries, still seeing protests, but no change of power. Can you give us a bit of a past and present on that of Syria?
Well, Syria, again, of course, we have these reports coming from Western media sources saying thousands of people have been killed. Until very recently, there was no mention of the armed rebels. There was no mention of the fact that state troops were, in fact, being killed. Until very recently, the Western media either chose to close their eyes or to ignore those, or to say that those statements were not true. Whereas when we were in Syria, personally in Homs, I have seen people, armed civilians, sitting under under a bridge, and when I asked about who those people were, I could get no clear explanation, neither from the people who were on the ground nor from the government officials. Some of them chose not to tell us who those people were. Others were simply scared. Then, of course, we have still the ongoing strife in countries like Yemen and Bahrain. Of course, in Yemen, there's a sort of a complicated three-party situation when you have the government versus the protesters, and then you have the educated and also protesting elite who are not agreeing neither with the government nor with the people who are demanding democracy. In fact, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has said that there is a civil war raging on in Yemen, and this very similar situation is unraveling in Bahrain. And although, of course, all those countries are also getting at least vocal support from Western states who are saying that they're all for democracy and they welcome that democracy in these countries, what will happen in them, judging by the situation in the three states that we have mentioned earlier, and those are Egypt, Libya, and Tunisia, yet is still unclear. The revolution may happen, but what will follow is yet another big question.
All right, RT's Irina Galushko there live in Cairo. Thank you.